Hi guys, we're the Sports Addict podcast, and we're a group of people who talk about NFL and NBA topics. My name is Sujal,
I'm Ashwa.
My name is Sai.
and today we're gonna talk about some predictions for the NFC East. So we'll start off with the NFC East. So Ashwell, what do you have to say about that?
Yep. So for the NFC East, I have the Eagles winning division at 11-5, the Cowboys 9-7 with the seventh seed and the wild card, and the Washington Redskins at 4-12, and the Giants at 13-3, rounding out the division. I think 3-13. Yep. I think the Cowboys enter the season as Super Bowl contenders as they have for many years in the past, but I think key offseason losses in Robert Quinn, who had 11.5 sacks and 14% pressure rate, which is second in the league behind only Zadarius Smith. Byron Jones, a Pro Bowl corner, went to Miami, and Malik Collins, who recorded 48 pressures, is now on to Vegas. They replaced these players with HaHa Clinton-Dix, who's on his fourth team in 3 years, so that's all you need to know about him. Joe McCoy is still a solid player, but not the player that he was in Tampa Bay. They drafted Trayvon Diggs to replace Byron Jones, the starting corner, but he played in a defense at Alabama that was filled with first-round picks and struggled in man coverage with top corners from LSU, Georgia, and Auburn. I think the defense does have some hope. Their linebackers, Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, are very talented. Vander Esch only played 9 games last season, but he had a strong rookie campaign, and I think if he is available and healthy this whole season, those two linebackers will definitely help improve the defense. Last offseason, I think it was the Cowboys paid a lot of money to DeMarcus Lawrence. Last season, he did not have a great showing, but if the defense wants to get on track, they have to see some improvement from last season from him. On the offensive side of the ball, I think they have a top 5 offense for sure, but a new coaching staff led by Mike McCarthy is on a shortened offseason. It's definitely going to be a struggle in the first half of the season. Kellen Moore is returning as the offensive coordinator to continue calling plays, but as I said, with a shortened offseason, it's going to be tough for the Cowboys in the beginning part of the season to mesh with their new offensive scheme. The loss of Travis Frederick and All-Pro center this season is definitely going to be tough for them to overcome. Right now, they're playing top-end money for guys like Ezekiel Elliott and less than elite wide receivers in Amari Cooper, who's getting paid around $20 to $21 million a year. And because of this, they do not have much depth around both offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I think injuries will definitely crush this team more than others because of the lack of talent in their reserve players. So I have them going at 9-7. I think they'll sneak in as a 7th seed, but don't see them as serious contenders. Moving on to the Eagles, I have them at 11-5. I think they're a solid team. Carson Wentz is probably a top 5 quarterback, and they addressed 2 areas that they were lacking at deeply in the 2019 season, which were cornerback and wide receiver. They traded for Darius Slay for a 3rd and 5th round pick, which is a solid deal. They also signed some much needed depth pieces in Nickel Robbie Coleman from the Rams and safety Will Parks. So in case of injuries, those guys will be able to fill in formidably. They did lose Malcolm Jenkins, but again, he's at the tail end of his career at 32, and I don't think that's much of a impact as much as a Byron Jones loss for the Cowboys. They drafted TCU wide receiver Jalen Reagor in the 1st round and also traded for speedster Marquise Goodwin, who will help stretch the field if he's healthy. It's important that he's healthy because he's had 2 injury-ridden seasons in San Francisco, so if he can continue to stay healthy and stretch the field, that would be a great help to Carson Wentz. Once again, they have a pretty solid offensive line, I'd say top 5, and that'll help keep their running game. And Carson Wentz is pass protecting up for the job. So I have them winning division with the number 3 seed at 11-5. To round out the division, I have the Giants and Redskins. Redskins are 4-12. I think they have an underrated defensive line with new addition Chase Young, but to include Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, Deron Payne, and others. I think their offense is just still lacking in many areas. Adrian Peterson is once again at the tail end of his career. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin had a solid rookie season, but outside of him, there's not many proven commodities. Their offensive line outside of Brandon Sheriff is also very unproven, and I just don't see much success with Dwayne Haskins in his second season, his first season under Ron Rivera. As I said earlier, teams with new coaching staffs this year are definitely going to struggle in the first part of the season with less than 2 months or even 1 month of training camp. So it's going to be very difficult to get acclimated to the new system for Dwayne Haskins. And their secondary, it's once again a lot of unproven commodities. Landon Collins had a big extension last season, but he has not played that well. And outside of him, there are not very many playmakers. So I see them at 4-12, picking fairly high in the 2021 draft. For the Giants, I see them at 3-13. I think their pick of Daniel Jones at number 6, I believe it was, from last year, definitely looks better than it did last year, but he still hasn't shown that he can be a franchise quarterback. But he showed stints of very solid play, but also many inconsistencies, which is why I have him at 3-13. They did draft Andrew Thomas at number 4 overall. He's a solid left tackle out of Georgia, and I think that's that.
Yeah, so Joel, you have something to say about that?
Yeah, about the Giants. I mean, like, they got a really underrated group of pass catchers. I mean, Evan Ingram, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard. You really don't think that Daniel Jones will take the leap? I mean, they also drafted Andrew Thomas at number 4 to help protect him. I mean, 3-13 seems a bit low for that Giants team. I mean, they do have a lot of talent. They still have Saquon Barkley. That guy is like a generational running back. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball efficiently. So why do you have them at 3-13? That seems way too low.
I mean, yeah, if you looked at them last year, they have, outside of their left tackle, they haven't made very many additions, and they were the 4th worst team last year. Their defense still lacks playmakers. Their best player was rookie Dexter Lawrence. So I mean, and once again, new coaching staff. It's going to be tough for them to get acclimated in the first half of the season.
I think the first 2 teams you have on your list are pretty fine. I have the Eagles at 10-6, Cowboys also at 9-7. But then I think the last 2 ones are pretty outrageous. I have the Redskins at 7-9, and I have the Giants at 5-11.
7-9. Okay, that's way too high, bro.
Okay, you'll see why.
Absolutely, Haskins was absolutely pathetic last year when he played.
He showed signs towards the end of the season. He put up good amount of points against the Eagles and the Giants at the end of the season.
Everyone shows signs. Like, you have like sucks.
He's gonna have a healthier offensive line. He's gonna actually have some receivers.
They just traded away Trent Williams. Her offensive line sucks.
Yeah, Trent Williams wasn't there last year either.
Yeah, I mean, did they get better? I really don't. Who did they get on the offensive line?
I think they didn't get many people, but I think their incoming players were there last year. Were going to improve more than they did last year. And some people including Morgan Moses at right tackle. He hasn't been proven. But this year, I feel like under Ron Rivera, he's gonna take the next leap.
7-9 is way too high.
And I think their pass rush is gonna really carry them on their defensive side. They have 5 really good pass rushers, I feel like, on their defensive line. And if they want to get rid of Ryan Kerrigan, they can get extra draft capital or maybe even another player to help out on the offensive side.
I think the fact that Ron Rivera did not draft Dwayne Haskins, he was drafted by the previous coaching staff, and the fact that he signed or traded for Kyle Allen from the Carolina Panthers shows how much belief he has in Dwayne Haskins. I mean, if he does not have a good season this year, I would not be surprised if they let go of him.
Man, that's horrendous. Kyle Allen's pathetic. Everyone knows that. They just got him because they needed a competent backup quarterback. Okay,
he started a few games. I mean, like, Dwayne Haskins was also horrendous last year. Like,
dude, if you look at Dwayne Haskins besides his first 4 games, the last 4 or 5 games, he was actually good.
His one
was
like a 5-yard dump to Adrian Peterson. That was his best play of the year.
We agree he had no help last season, but what have they done this season over this offseason?
I think their defense is going to take a sec. I think their defense is going to help Dwayne Haskins a lot. I think they're going to have like a top 7 to 8 defense in the NFL.
It's not like they got like DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, okay, but like defense, like he needs more offensive playmakers. Obviously, he has McLaurin.
And
he had a great.
he's had a revolving door head coach. Okay? They don't even know. He can't even name who their coach was last year. That's how bad they were. Okay? Like they had random people just coaching their team.
I mean, yeah, you have a point. Yeah, he's obviously going to improve. You can't get much worse than that. But like 7-9 seems a bit too high, especially if you do you agree with the Giants ranking of 3-13?
No, I'm a 5-11.
Okay, then that's a bit more reasonable. But the Giants are going to beat the Redskins. The Redskins, their strength is defensive line. Obviously, they have a really, really talented defensive line, but like the rest of the team isn't really.
The defensive line can win them a couple games here or there. And I think Dwayne Haskins is going to take the second leap in this year. And I think Darius Guys will stay healthy for the first time in his career.
He'll get injured again.
It's possible.
Yeah, the Giants
have
Joe Judge as their head coach. Okay, a wide receiver coach from the Patriots. The Patriots wide receivers last year were not good at all.
Yeah, but I think the connection between Darius Slayton and Danny Dimes is gonna carry that.
Slayton was really good last year. Slayton was he had a great rookie year. His route running was really precise. He was putting some good cornerbacks. He was making them look bad. He's obviously going to take a leap. However, I don't know if the trust, like you said, the connection between Danny Dimes and Slayton. I mean, there's only 1 month training camp, so there's not really much that you can get done. So,
I think you're right about the receiving core. It is pretty good. I think Golden Tate, without a suspension that he had last year, he's gonna have a better year. He's gonna be like a safety blanket for Danny Dimes, and I think Evan Ingram, as long as he stays healthy, he can be a proven tight end.
Yeah.
All right.
And what do you have for the Eagles, Joe?
For the Eagles, I agree with the prediction. I mean, they're the best team in the in that division. They have a good offensive line. Obviously, we had to see if Andre Dillard can replace Jason Peters. There have been some rumors that he might get traded. So, and obviously, left tackle is a really, really important position, especially if you have like a guy like Carson Wentz. You don't want him getting injured. But the rest of their team, it looks pretty solid. Their wide receivers, they took Jalen Reagor. Obviously, they could have taken Jefferson, but that's still an improvement nonetheless. I feel like Alshon Jeffries, he's gonna have a good year this year. He's really being slept on, but they're mostly returning the same players that they had last year. So I think they'll take another step forward this year and win the division.
Yeah, so I have the Eagles at 10-6 because I feel like their tight end group and their wide receiver group is going to be more healthy this year compared to what they were last year. And I feel like people like Miles Sanders and Djax will actually improve this offense. And I think Andre Dillard is actually an upgrade over Jason Peters. I mean, Jason Peters is getting old. He's like 38.
But he's still really good. I mean,
he isn't who he was like a decade ago. Right?
Yeah, so, but exactly. He's still really – a decade ago, he's like probably the best left tackle or one of the best left tackles. Now he's like the top.
So I think he's fallen off. And I think the addition of Brandon Brooks, who got injured at the end of the year last year, I think he's gonna help them out as well. Healthy Brandon Brooks. It was one of the best right guards in the NFL. And I think Jalen Rodriguez is going to give them another speed threat along with Deshaun Jackson. And if Deshaun Jackson can stay healthy, I feel like their offense can be a top 6 offense.
Yep. All right, that's our preview for the NFC East.